I'm a nice guy. You're really not.
Are
I'm
you
sorry.
though?
Yeah, like, are you doing things with like for everyone without expecting anything in return, without overstepping your boundaries? Are you a single, shy nerd struggling to find a player too? If you're still trying to figure out the skills you need, here's a tutorial to get to the next level. Learn from experts and fellow nerds who found their partners, the mistakes they made, and how they still ended up together, with no cheat codes. I'm Alex Goldstein, and this is the Roll Today podcast. Hey everyone, I'm Alex, and I help shy, introverted nerds get over their fears and anxieties to find their player too. The idea is to address some of your questions, dispel some myths, and hear about the many different ways that nerds can find real relationships. April, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's really nice to be here.
You know, there's often the idea of the nice guy as it like a bad thing. And I don't like that term because that means that you can't be a good person or that you can't be kind.
Mm-hmm.
And many people confuse being nice many people confuse being a nice guy in the bad sense of the word with being a nice person, a kind person, a good person, right? I personally found more, I don't want to call it success, but let's just say that I found better feedback when I go on dates, when I'm kind, when I'm, a few years ago, I started like behaving more like a gentleman, like doing gentlemanly things because I realized that I like them. I enjoy them.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with being a nice guy.
Yeah, I hate that nice guys finish last thing.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
It's usually not nice guys. Let's not say guys. It's people who do things with second intentions. Right? It's like, I'll do this thing nice for you because I'm expecting you to do this for me later. Versus being good, being kind without expecting anything in return.
Yeah.
You know, just because you want to. Like when I start dating someone new, what I usually say is, as if it were that many times, what I have said is I really enjoy like ordering like with the waiter. Like you tell me what you want and I'll talk to the waiter. It's silly. It's totally dumb. It's not that you can't do it.
Yeah.
It's just that I feel useful and I like feeling useful. All I want is a smile and a thank you. That's it. And I've had a few partners who at first are like, what? No, like I'm a strong, independent woman. I'm like, I know. I'm telling you, I enjoy this and I would appreciate it if you let me do this.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, sure, whatever. And then after a month or two, they'd be like, you know what? I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah.
I even had someone, we did it for like maybe a couple months, and she went to a different country and we split up, but we're still in touch. And she said, it took me 6 months to get used to ordering my stuff again. She said,
she expected you to be there.
Well, she expected her guy friends to order for her, you know? And this is like a woman who was like entrepreneur, like super strong, like traveling by herself, the whole thing, right? And she said, like a month after we had split up, she went out drinking with some friends and she asked a male friend of hers, she said, can you get me a beer? And he said, get your own fucking beer. And she's like, but like, can't you like just like order it for me? Like, why would I order it? Like, you can order your own beer, right? And I get it because I grew up with that kind of, I mean, all my friends are really hardcore feminists, and I was like inculcated that we are equal and you have to like go halfway like with the bills and stuff and this and never open the door and never do this. And when I tell my Argentinian friends that I'm doing this stuff, they get so annoyed. They get so angry. And I'm like, look, the women that I've been dating, once they get it and they accept it, they love it. And if they don't, they at least do it because I like it. And that's not being a nice guy. That's being a gentleman, and that's something that I realize that I enjoy, and other people don't have to enjoy it, and that's fine. Are there any specific things that you can like share with people of like what made him, like, for in your eyes at least, kind?
Yeah, he honestly, like, from the very first moment I met him, he was just a really, really good person, a really, really nice person, which is kind of hard to find sometimes. So that was what attracted me to him further and talking to him more, because
Right.
it wasn't like I was bothering him if I just wanted to talk to him. He was always there and always willing to listen. And that was what drew me to him originally. We were talking on Tinder originally. It took a minute before we actually exchanged phone numbers, because you can just use the chat on Tinder. You don't have to go somewhere else. And when I added him to my contacts, I took a picture of him. I put his name in my phone. I put his phone number. And then in the notes section, where you can put like, met this person on Tinder or whatever you would put there, I put the kindest man I've ever known. That early into knowing him, I wrote that.
Wait, how early was that?
We probably exchanged phone numbers like 2 months in. You know, we were talking on Tinder, and then it was like, this is silly. Like, why don't we just give each other phone numbers?
Yeah.
But, so, pat myself on the back for that one. Apparently I have good instincts with people, because
Clearly.
even through our relationship, I kept bringing it up to him, like, how wild that I put this in my phone, like, the kindest man I've ever known. And I barely even knew you. I genuinely barely even knew him. But it was just something about him. It was just something about him, the way he talked, the way he acted. And truly, like I said, being at the lowest point, and he was still there, and he was still caring for me, and was willing to help me. And yeah, it's 7 years later. We've now been married a month. I still have that note on my contacts, and it's true more than ever. There was one time we still weren't official. We weren't dating, but I texted him and said, I really need somebody to talk to. And I genuinely don't know how. I need to ask him. He was working, but somehow he dropped everything and came and got me and took me to a park, and we sat and we talked for probably 2 hours something. But one thing he did for me that I'll never forget is I was with him and I was really, really low. I was not doing well. And it was late at night. He said, put your coat on. He's like, put your jacket on and come with me. And he just like, took my hand. He said, come with me. And he had a bundle of blankets and he had 2 pillows, and he took me out and we walked to this kind of like sloping tin roof. We were on a property that his RV was on. It was a sloping roof. And he laid out the blanket. He put the 2 pillows down, and he said, okay, we're going to sit here and we're going to look at the stars. Which is like, boy, the smoothest move that you can think of. But it was the nicest thing in the moment to just be stuck in my head and just really not feeling well. And then it was pitch black out there. The stars were super bright. It was really, really nice. And even like the temperature outside was kind of cooler. So I'm sure that physically helped as well to like bring my body temperature down a little bit and be more relaxed.
You just said that he was helping you. Like, I mean, you were going through some mental health stuff and he was helping with that. You don't have to go into details, but my main question would be like, did you feel like you had to sort of get over it before you started dating? Like, I recently actually, this is going to come out months later. So for everyone watching, months ago, I posted a short reel about how you don't have to like finish doing all the personal development work to start dating, right? Mm-hmm. So with what you were going through, And I don't know if it's ongoing or not. That's irrelevant. Did you feel at some point that you had to sort of be done with it and be completely healed before you started dating? Or did you have any insecurities about it?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because we were very casual and upfront about not wanting a serious relationship. And that was part of it, was like, I was working on myself and trying to improve the things in my own life, because I recognize the fact that you have to love yourself before you can love someone else. And especially at that time, I did not love myself to be kind. And so I really, really was working and trying to be better. And it was in dating each other that I realized I could still do that work and be with someone. It was truly, he was doing something for me because he saw that I was struggling and wanted to help. And I think I have his mom to thank a little bit, because she was a mother of three boys. But she was a mother of three boys, and she set out with the plan to raise gentlemen. She made a point to tell them, you hold the door for women, you compliment people, you do nice things for people, you help when you can. And so he was raised with this mindset of, if you can help someone, you help them. And he's maintained that his whole life. Everything he does is if he can help someone. We will drive down the freeway, and if there's a car stopped on the side of the road, he wants to pull over and help them. And that was so new for me, because there's always stranger danger in the US. Like, don't talk to people, don't, just stay in your lane.
I have the same.
But even in the first few months of dating him, we would be driving somewhere and he'd see someone stopped and he'd say, I'm going to stop, I'm going to help them. And I'd be like, oh, anxious, like, oh gosh, something bad's going to happen. But he would pull over and he'd say, like, hey, do you need help? And they'd say, oh yeah, the tire is bad, or no, we're okay, whatever it was. He would just always help. And it was such a takeaway from what I had been used to of, like I said, people see someone who needs help and they just ignore it, or that's not my problem, or whatever. But for him, it was an opportunity. Like, that person needs help. I will not gain anything from it, but I can help them. And it was just so unique and so valuable, because how often do you see someone who's like that? And so it was the addition of all these little things that made me realize this is a really good person. And he didn't flaunt it either, because, some people will be like, oh, I'm a really nice person. And then they're maybe not, or they do some things
they're usually not.
Yeah. He never did. He was never like, oh, I'm a really, like, helpful person, I do all these things. It was just, I'm going to stop and help that person.
Yeah.
And that's just what we're doing.
He was being kind, but there wasn't any, let's call it neediness, which is what some people call it. Like, he's not doing it so that you like him. He's not doing it so that you will eventually fall for him or that you will appreciate it. I've heard from, actually, when I did the interviews about the Tolkien Association, I asked my friends, like, what were some of the things that the guys were doing that you found creepy or disturbing or whatnot? And some of them said, like, they would, like, give me gifts. And we weren't even friends. It's like out of the blue. Like, sure, like we would, like, exchange, like group chats with, on the forum or in person with, like, groups of friends, but not like there wasn't an actual relationship and there was no mutual interest, right? And then I would, like, they would come and be like, oh, I draw this for you, or I did this for you. And now that I'm thinking about it, I actually knew this girl in high school whom I never talked to. Actually, I talked to her friend and I hooked up with her friend, but that's a different story. But I thought that she liked me, but I didn't, so I just didn't do anything. And at some point she brought me, do you know the band Morphine?
No.
It's an amazing band. Anyway, so she
I'm
brought
going
me
to find out who they are now.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's sax, bass, and drums and voice. It's fantastic.
I'm into it.
So anyway, so we chatted a bit. I'm thinking her and someone else. I don't think I've ever had like a one-on-one with her. And I mentioned Morphine. I was like, I'm so into this band. It's amazing. And something later, she showed up with a compilation CD with Morphine. I still have it. And I was like, thank you, I guess. Like, I mean, I have the files, but okay. And I think that's what people confuse for kindness. You know, it's unsolicited stuff with someone that you don't have a bond with. You were asking him for help, or even if not, like you were seeing things and ways that he was kind, which had nothing to do with doing something for you, or not to you, but for you, that would eventually make you fall for him or like him or whatever it is. Because like, he's not going to stop for a stranger to change a tire to have them like him. Like, most likely he doesn't have those person's details and he's never seen them again in his whole life.
Exactly.
You know? And I think that's the main difference. Like, when you hear people saying, I'm a nice guy, and it's usually guys, it's also I've seen it on women, but the stereotype is guys. Any gender can be nice person. But like, when you hear like guys saying like, I'm a nice guy, you're really not.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like, are you doing things for everyone without expecting anything in return, without overstepping your boundaries? Because also, I think that's one of the, I have on my blog, I have several blog posts of like skills, and one of them is setting boundaries, right? And I think that's a very important skill, especially if we want to do kind things, because if he's in a place where he doesn't have more space to give because there's an emergency, because he's got too much going on, because of whatever it is, like, you could say, we are on opposite schedules. He's right now working or sleeping or whatever it is, which is why he's not on the podcast. If he has no boundaries, he would be like, okay, I have to be there. I'm not going to go to work, and I'm going to be here. Right. Yeah. Only because some random person in the other side of the world asked for an interview. Right. He didn't do that. So he's got boundaries, right? He's like, I'm going to do this kind thing because somebody needs it, but I'm not going to do it if it means harm to myself. I once took a first aid course, and the guy was saying, like, the first thing you do when you arrive to a scene or to whatever it is you look to see if it's safe for you. If it's not safe for you, you don't go. Period. Doesn't matter what happens, you just don't. And he gave us quite a few examples of people who didn't follow that thing, and they ended up with like disability for life or something for life, and you can help fewer people, right? Because you're not able to anymore. Yeah.
It's that put your oxygen mask on yourself before putting it on someone else. If you pass out, you can't help someone.
Exactly. And that's you helped one person. Right. That's it. Like, a child is not going to be able to help 3 other people. You will.
Yeah. So, and that could be 3 children that you then help. So
that could be 3 children. Yeah. Or like, you have 3 children. It's like, okay, I'm going to put you on the first one and you're out. Yeah.
Who cares about those other 2 kids?
Just pick the favorite one. Right. I had an air stewardess like giving the speech. Or was it a video? Maybe it was a video. I don't know. nowadays it's hard to tell. I think it was a video saying like, if you see the air mask coming on, put yours first, and then choose your favorite one, and then put it on that one first.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big distinction between the nice guy and doing nice thing or kind things or good things. It's not being needy, not being attached to any kind of outcome or expecting anything, because that's manipulation, and also having good boundaries.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say. He works 12-hour shifts right now, so he absolutely needs to get a set amount of sleep or he's not going to be able to make it through work. He has to. And we've been really fortunate in our relationship that we are really communicative. It makes sense thinking about where we started from. We always were talking. So we're able to talk about, this is what I need, this is what you need, this is what I can provide, this is what you can provide, and how do we find that compromise in the middle. And so right now for him, he has to sleep during the day so he can work in the evening. So I do my absolute best to be quiet during the day so that I'm not waking him up, and, don't do anything in the bedroom. That can wait until later. It's not that important. Yeah, it's really important to just keep talking. I think it's talk to death about communication is important, but you truly don't understand until you find yourself in it how important it is. And I think that's why some relationships fail, is because people aren't comfortable enough talking. They haven't been doing it their whole relationship. And it gets tough after a certain period of time, to start integrating that of, oh, well, now we're going to talk about stuff because you're not used to it.
Yeah. Going back to my blog, that's what I call vulnerability. That's basically that.
Go read the blog.
But go read the blog. It's pretty short, so go read it. Thank you so much, April, for coming, and thanks God as well for just being kind, I guess.
For being an actual nice guy.
For being an actual nice guy. There you go. And everyone else, if you have any questions for April or for past or future guests, please send them to me, leave a comment, send me an email at dm@rolltoday.com or at my social media at rolltodate. And I'll see if maybe I can bring April back. Maybe we can bring Scott back. Who knows? Or so that I know what to ask in the future. April, thank you so much. And everyone, take care. You know what many nerds in relationships have in common? A community. Join me on Discord and start leveling up with others at rolltoday.com/Discord.